Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel where I like to talk about game development in my own way. In this part of UI series, we're gonna see how to create customizable buttons. Unity already has some components which we can use and customize to get desired results. What we're gonna do in this video is using some UI elements and control them via script to get some cool animated buttons. Before starting, let me show you what packages you're gonna need to be able to follow this series. Firstly, we need to add 2D Sprite package of Unity to our project. We need this package to control sprites and get better quality images. You can import this package to your project directly from the package manager. Also, we need an additional package for making animations easier. We're gonna use the DoTween for this purpose. You can download it for free from the Unity Asset Store. After those two packages are downloaded, we are ready to start creating UI button. We start by adding canvas to our scene, and then we are adding empty game object into it, and name it as you wish. We're gonna need to add two image controls into our empty game object. We also need to add canvas group for each image control, which we're gonna use to apply fade animations. We're gonna use those image controls for animations. The first one is default control, which we're gonna use to display default image of the button. And the second one is the image control, which we're gonna use to get hover animation. After completing setting up controls, now we can add a best background image that we wanna use for our button. Then we are changing the settings of the image control regarding the animation which we decide to see. For the hover image control, we need to assign different background colors and set the fill amount to 0. This is just temporary. We're gonna control all these settings via script later on. As a final control, we are adding Text Mesh Pro control to show the title of the button and changing the settings according to our needs. You can find the pictures and the fonts in the project file. The download link of the project file is down below the video. One more thing before jumping codes. We need to adjust the base image by using Sprite editor. After that, we are ready for coding. It is always better to keep your project files and folder organized. We are creating a script folder and then UI folder and adding C# script file, then name it as a cool button. So we are ready to code. Firstly, we are adding the namespaces which we need. We need those namespaces to be able to get some events, change control settings and animate controls. We are adding interfaces which we need for getting events for our button, such as enter, leave and click. We don't need to use the start and update methods. That's why we can get rid of them. We need to control some settings of our button. That's why we need to reach some controls in the scene. We're gonna do all this by defining some properties which are possible to set and update via Unity editor. We are defining title property and then continue with font and background colors. Then we are defining the properties of animation timing. Then we are defining properties for text, image and canvas controls. We could get those controls by using the getComponent method of Unity. But while we have the ability to assign the controls from the editor, I prefer to do so. The final property is callback action, which we are gonna use to fire click events. We start with onValidate method. Here we're gonna update our controls. By doing this, we're gonna able to see changes on the Unity editor without starting the game. Here, we can check the controls if they are null or not, just before using them. But because we are assigning controls from the editor, I don't see any reason to do it here. Instead, I will want to see an error if there was a missing control that I forgot to assign. We are also defining a public method for registering click events for the button. So now, we can write the codes into event methods for animation. As I mentioned before, we are using DoTween. Here, I'm not gonna dive into the details of it. Maybe I can make another video about that. But for now, what I can say is as simple as possible. We are defining animation sequence and adding different type of functionality to it, and then play all at once. For the enter event, which is going to be fired when the cursor comes above our button, we are changing text font color and then fade out to default background image while we are fading in hover image. In parallel, we are changing the fill amount of both background and hover image. We are setting the background image fill amount to 0, while we are setting hover image fill amount to 1. By doing those animations together, we can have smooth animation for our button when the cursor comes above it. On the accent event, which is going to be fired when the cursor leaves the area of the button, we are doing opposite of what we are doing on the enter event. Here we are setting default values of the controls to set our button's state to default. On the pointer down event, we are applying the same logic as the previous two events, but at the same time we have some differences. The first one is we are checking which button of the mouse clicked, and accordingly we are firing registered click event action or leave the method immediately. And the second one is that we are waiting for hover image background color change to complete and then immediately start to change it back to the hover state. By doing this, we can show click animation. So that's it for coding. We can turn back to Unity Editor and wait for the editor to finish compiling scripts files. Don't worry about the error in the console. We see it because controls are not assigned to button yet. Just ignore it. Now we see all the properties of the button on the Inspector tab. We can set them as we want and then run the project. As a result, now you have a button which can change the colors according to your game's color palette and use it in your game. You can tweak some settings of the image control to get different type of animations too, or you can add some sound effects for each event to make the button more interactive. It is totally up to you guys. So this is the end of this video. The next one is gonna be about drop-down menus. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new and get some inspiration. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Your support means a lot. See you guys.